Shalom. We move now to Psalm number 40. For the leader, a psalm of David. I put my hope in the Lord. He inclined toward me and heeded my cry. He lifted me out of the miry pit, the slimy clay, and set my feet on a rock, steadied my legs. He put a new song into my mouth, a hymn to our God. May many see it and stand in awe and trust in the Lord. Happy is the man who makes the Lord his trust, who turns not to the arrogant or to followers of falsehood. You, O Lord my God, have done many things. The wonders you have devised for us cannot be set out before you. I would rehearse the tale of them, but they are more than can be told. You gave me to understand that you do not desire sacrifice and meal offering. You do not ask for burnt offering and sin offering. Then I said, See, I will bring a scroll recounting what befell me. To do what pleases you, my God, is my desire. Your teaching is in my inmost parts. I proclaimed your righteousness in a great congregation. See, I did not withhold my words. O Lord, you must know it. I did not keep your beneficence to myself. I declared your faithful deliverance. I did not fail to speak of your steadfast love in a great congregation. O Lord, you will not withhold from me your compassion. Your steadfast love will protect me always. For misfortunes without number envelop me. My iniquities have caught up with me. I cannot see. They are more than the hairs of my head. I am at my wit's end. O favor me, Lord, and save me. O Lord, hasten to my aid. Let those who seek to destroy my life be frustrated and disgraced. Let those who wish me harm fall back in shame. Let those who say, Aha, aha, over me be desolate because of their frustration. But let all who seek you be glad and rejoice in you. Let those who are eager for your deliverance always say, Extolled be the Lord. But I am poor and needy. May the Lord devise deliverance for me. You are my help and my rescuer. My God, do not delay. Let's play a little game of wordplay with one of the sections of this psalm, just for fun. It's actually a process that is used often in the Midrash or in commentaries, where the commentators would take a Hebrew word from the text, from the Bible, and they would change the vocalization, the vowels, or they might add a letter or do some kind of wordplay technique in order to glean some kind of positive and useful message from the verse. So I'm going to try to do that with one of the words here. First we have verse 9. To do what pleases you, my God, is my desire. Your teaching is in my inmost parts. The Hebrew word for inmost parts is me'ai, which means entrails or intestines, my innards. So the psalmist here is saying that he has absorbed the truth of God's teachings and the fullness of God's teachings into his innermost existence. But then in the very next verse, I proclaimed your righteousness in a great congregation. So in front of a large group of people, a great congregation, the writer, the psalmist goes out and he proclaims God's righteousness. The Hebrew for proclaim is bisarti, bisarti. The word basar can also mean flesh or skin. So if I were to take that word bisarti and add an additional Hebrew letter bet to the beginning of the word, it would come out bivasarti, in my or with my skin or with my flesh or in the flesh. And so that meaning would then be, with a new translation according to this little midrash that I'm doing, in the flesh I proclaim your righteousness in a great congregation. Going back to the end of the previous verse, your teaching is in my insides, and on the outside, in the flesh, I take those teachings and I proclaim God's righteousness in a great congregation. I am able to be consistent, completely true to myself, both inside and outside. But then what happens when the psalmist realizes that he is also the victim of misfortune and all sorts of bad things that can happen to him, which he connects with his iniquities? And he says that his iniquities are more than the hairs on his head. But separate from his own breach of morality or separate from his own sinfulness, let's just say that misfortunes have happened to him. And as good as he is, and as able as he is on the inside and the outside to be consistent in his inner and outer life, still he's only human and he cannot be protected. He is still vulnerable to misfortune. Bad things still happen to him, and he proclaims and declares that he is literally at his wit's end. How can somebody at his wit's end, who knows that he is at his wit's end, go out in front of a great congregation and proclaim God's righteousness? It's not easy. It's not easy for someone to do this. A public figure has an inner life and an outer life. There are times when things happen to this public figure that can be intolerable, and he is at his wit's end, doesn't know what to do with himself. But aware of this and mindful of what's going on, and ever in tune with his feelings, in other words, at a high level of emotional intelligence, he's able to put that aside and move to a congregation and tell them and share with them the blessings and truth of God's teachings and of God's righteousness. It's not easy to do, and it can be supremely challenging to be able to have a public face that sometimes has to hide and mask what's going on in a person's inner feelings. But nevertheless, we have to do it. I recall times when I had to stand in front of a large congregation. When I was in a previous congregation on the high holidays, there were sometimes as many as 2,000 people sitting in front of me. And while there could be difficulties happening in my personal life, while I could be experiencing travail and even suffering in my personal life, health-wise or family-wise or whatever, but I had to stand in front of a congregation and I had to put on an outer face of trust and of leadership. Not easy. I tried my best. I hope I did a good job at it, but it is not easy. For each and every one of us, there are times when our public face has to mask something different from what we are going on, what we are experiencing internally and with our feelings. We can't wear our feelings on our sleeves all the time. Instead, we have to be mindful and awareness that even when we are at our wit's end, we can't necessarily proclaim that to the world around us. We have to learn how to deal with those feelings and with those attitudes, and we need to put those in their place and turn towards others around us and give them sometimes a sense of reassurance that we are okay and that we can be supportive of them when they are not okay. By the same token, we need to know that if we are suffering internally, there are moments when we need to turn to others for support. And instead of always putting on that brave face and always putting on this kind of demeanor of, I'm okay, I'm fine, I don't need you, and I don't need anybody, I can do it on my own. There are times when we need to be true to ourselves and to others, turn to them for support and encouragement, and let them know that we need them to take us by the hand, put their arms around us or on our shoulders, and be there to help us. Thank you.